Alright, welcome to Let's Play um, Super Mario Brothers, the 40th anniversary. So, we're discussing the long and great history of one of the greatest video games ever made, Super Mario Brothers. Now, this is one of those games that I grew up with playing back in the day. This was my very first NES game, in fact. It was, it came out back in 1985 in America. Now, that was only a New York release. The main release was 1986, but its Japanese release was in 1984. So this is the 40th anniversary of Super Mario Brothers. So, you got, I would say, probably the greatest video game from importance okay? Because it basically founded what we now would say is the modern platformer. I mean, obviously things like Pitfall and Donkey Kong came out before it. I mean, Donkey Kong was Donkey Kong the first platform? I can't remember if Pitfall or Donkey Kong came first. One of those came first. I'm pretty sure it was Donkey Kong. But, Super Mario Brothers basically invents the modern platformer as we know it. And so it has, I would say it's the most important video game of all time, even more so than Pong or Pac-Man or Space Invaders, because basically modern video games as we know it would pretty much not exist without Super Mario Brothers. Maybe something else would, but as we know the video games today, it's because of Super Mario Brothers. And this is one of those games that's classic, but looking back at it, this is one of those games that, I think a lot of people are very nostalgic for, but if you actually go back, and I'm going to say this straight up, this is a game that kind of does not age that well. I mean, the controls are a bit rough and a bit rigid compared to later Mario games. They really perfect that control by the time you get to Super Mario Bros. 3. And I would say probably Super Mario Bros. 3 is the greatest NES game, and probably Super Mario World is one of the greatest video games of all time. It's one of my favorite games, up there with like Final Fantasy VI and Doom, big games that were part of my childhood, like Commander King gets thrown in their Maniac Mansion, stuff like that. Secret of Monkey Island. But I would say probably that Super Mario World is probably, that's probably up there one of my favorite games. But Super Mario Brothers introduced basically a lot of the concepts from Super Mario Bros. that Mario Bros. Had. I can't remember if Mario Brothers had the Koopas. But yeah, you got the Koopa Troopas, you got the Goombas, the Buzzy Beetles, the Piranha Plants, Spiny and Lakitu, and then you got Cheep Cheep the fish that sometimes jumps out of the water on those bridge levels, and then you got things like those castles, the ones I'm talking about, the ones that are I should turn that off. Quit alerting me, Discord. Okay. So yeah, that was. So, what was I saying? Oh yeah, back to Super Mario Brothers. I mean, it's probably the greatest video. Again, I say it's the greatest video game. You got the underground world where you go to fight the Buzzy Beetles, and and they have and there's the power-ups, of course. You got the mushroom, the big red mushroom that makes you Big Mario. The green mushroom that gives you an extra life, and then you got the fire flower, which makes you throw fireballs. That's awesome. And then the most awesome power-up in the game, the Starman. He makes you invisible. You can easily knock out everybody, including those annoying Hammer Brothers. Those guys, I can't stand those guys. Those guys are a pain. They're the worst enemy in the game. I mean, next to the final boss with Bowser. In fact, I didn't beat this game ever until I played it on YouTube years and years ago. This was years ago. But yeah, it's one of those games that's really iconic for me, especially, coming from. I'm a big old school Mario fan. Like I love all those old school Mario games. But yeah, you got then you got the levels where you're up on the trees. Those are pretty cool. And then you got the castle, and the water stages. I mean, again, here's another thing about this game: the music. That Mario theme, you can sing that song to yourself. Doo doo doo. Yeah, you know that one. You can sing that song. That's one of the most iconic video game songs ever. Up there with like Final Fantasy and Legend of Zelda as being like iconic pieces of video game music ever. And then you got like, and of course the underwater music's really nostalgic. That takes me back, along with the water music from Super Mario Bros. 3, our classic. And then of course you got the castle. That's some awesome ominous music. And then you got like the fireballs, the potaboos that come out of the lava, and then those fire rods that are in the castle. I forget what they're called. I think they're just fire rods. And they got Bowser, and the iconic line, "Sorry, Mario, your princess is another castle." Or, "Sorry, Mario, your princess is another castle." Like that old Super Mario Brothers Super Show cartoon with Toad. Yeah, Toad basically tells you you're in the wrong castle. And then you got by the way, if you use the fire flower on Bowser, it's another enemy disguising itself as Bowser. So that's pretty interesting. And then you got of course, then you rescue then you get the Princess Toadstool. We called her that. I mean, now we know her as Princess Peach. Back then we called her Princess Toad. So like Bowser, we called King Koopa. And then you got Luigi, who basically in this version, the old version, he's just a palette swap of Mario. It's not until he gets like Super Mario All-Stars where he basically, there's some differences between him. But yeah, that's basically the original Super Mario Brothers in a nutshell. I think then eventually you have, you get things like, you got the Hammer Brothers who throw hammers at you. And then you got Lakitu, who's annoying because he throws those spinies at you. And then you got like the Piranha Plants. But like, the thing is, like then they made a sequel, Super Mario Brothers 2, which essentially is basically pretty much the same game, but like ridiculously difficult. And they got like new enemies like the Piranha Plants that come out of the pipes when you're standing on them. Normally the Piranha Plant does not come out if you're standing on the pipe or touching it next to it, but this one does. And then you got like the wind, and then you got those really crazy levels. And then, basically this game spawned one of the greatest video game franchises in the history of video games. Not many series that are on that level. You could say probably like Zelda, Final Fantasy, and then you got like, I guess maybe Pokemon would be up there. And then what else? Yeah, Dragon Quest, of course. You can tell I like JRPGs. So, I mean, then you got like, what's that game? Yeah, I mean, then you get like stuff like, what's that one game? Oh boy, now I can't even remember what I was thinking of. But anyway, Super Mario Brothers is one of the greatest video games of all time. Now, I would say probably nostalgia it's going to be a factor here because some of this game does not age that well. I mean, I was watching like, it was John Hancock. No, it was not John Hancock. It was John Riggs, because John Hancock does Genesis games. John Riggs has done Nintendo and Super Nintendo. No, John Riggs gave it a S, which I disagree with because I think if from importance, yeah, but from a pure gameplay, I would say this is probably an A- or maybe a B+ level of game. Because there are elements in this game that don't age that well, to be honest. Like, again, the platforming is a little weird compared to modern Mario games. It's a little rigid, but still a fun game. And then, the sequel, Super Mario Bros. 2, which we know is the Lost Levels, that did not come out here until 1993, when it came out in the collection Super Mario All-Stars, which includes Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. 2, which is Super Mario 2 in Japan, there's Lost Levels in America, Super Mario Bros. 2 in America, Super Mario USA in Japan, and Super Mario Bros. 3, sometimes Super Mario World. And that's a pretty awesome collection right there. So this is one of those games that I think is definitely an important game, but it's kind of, I would say probably Super Mario Bros. 3 is way better, and Super Mario World is way better. It's kind of like the original Zelda, where the later Zelda games are just blow the original away. I mean, the original Zelda is still fun, but I mean, it's not like Final Fantasy where you could argue, yeah, the original Final Fantasy and NES, that kind of is not really that great now because it's kind of busted, but it's an important game. But that's Super Mario Brothers. I might do one of these for Zelda. I might do one of these for Dragon Warrior. Maybe Final Fantasy, because that anniversary's coming up, and that's a big. That's gonna be a big deal for me, because that's probably my favorite franchise, is the old school Final Fantasy. Um, but yeah, I like Sonic, but Mario. Looking now, Mario blows Sonic away. Even though Sonic's got that blast processing, Mario's got power ups galore. So that's gonna basically do it for me. Yeah, I might do more videos. I got some of the the kind of Christmas themed Super Mario World stuff up. There's more that I'm gonna do, because there's one that I forgot I recorded years ago, but didn't really upload. So that's gonna be up pretty soon, maybe later tonight or tomorrow. I'm recording. Yeah, I think that will be up. So yeah, I will see you again with more videos. And yeah, by the way, there's no game audio, because I didn't want I didn't know how to mix that. So you can hear that. You can hear that anywhere else. But yeah, that's my opinion on Super Mario Brothers. And I will see you again next time with more videos. Okay? Yeah, that's gonna be some fun. And yeah, I'll see you again next time. Yeah, we'll see each other. I'll see you next time. Yeah, I gotta watch that Super Mario Brothers Super Show again. I remember that show. That show was crazy. Yeah. So I'm gonna stop recording pretty soon, and yeah, see you next time.